So we are here in Chuck. I had to make a quick call to unemployment to see how things are progressing. They move at the pace of the government, so we'll see what happens. As long as it comes through, that's all I care about. But anyways, I wanted to give a quick update here at the vlog on myself with what's happened as of recently, which directly affects what we're all doing with the channel. It's been really cool to see how the channel has been growing. It's been doing really well. We had that nice run of every single day having content out. Felt really good. It was a lot of fun. Very proud of that. You guys are a direct influence on that. Did really well, so I'm quite happy with that. But so the outlook right now, like I had to go to the doctor. What happened was I worked 3 days last week. The guy I worked for, the landscaping, the guys that are with them now, they just don't know the routes yet. They haven't been with them long enough to know the routes proficiently. So I had agreed to come in and do driving and whatever I could do to help, because I wasn't sure at that stage if he was going to have a second guy and all that kind of stuff. So Wednesday went well. I was tired, but I did quite a bit of mowing because we only had one guy besides myself. And then Thursday we had the second guy and mowed a bit more. That was a lot harder of a day. Friday was rough. Thankfully though, because of us not having a ton of rain out here in Pennsylvania, everything's really dry. So, you know, when we got to the end of the route, everything was dead. So you can't, there's a stage where you just can't mow. And with them calling for rain over the weekend, I felt it was best, and Jim had left it up to me to try to decide, since I had worked with him for almost excuse me, almost 10 years. He trusted my judgment in that regard. So it went well. It was a lot, and I was reminded again, I can't do this, especially until my feet are fully healed, which I think on Tuesday I have my first appointment with the wound specialist. So hopefully prognosis isn't too bad. Excuse me. I think we need to get another antibiotic specifically for the feet to get the infection fully out before they can start doing something, because there's no point in, like, if they have to close something up or whatever. Excuse me. If there's infection still working there, it's, you know, it is what it is. Having a lot of trouble with the right foot now, but like, anyways, what happened is, like, when I'm in the heat like that and I get a lot of stress on me, my fibromyalgia acts up. And also it was so dusty, you're breathing in a lot of stuff, which wasn't good. So I started coughing over the weekend, which I assumed was from that, which it probably partially was. And then I started getting these sort of up and down, like, felt like you get really hot on the forehead, and then you get these cold sweats, and I started feeling really weak, and that's what's called a fibro fever. And unfortunately my immunity is still pretty bad, and I probably beat myself down quite a bit, plus probably still have a little bit of infection operating in the feet, that it just, the culmination of all those things just sort of slapped me upside the head. And it went from being, because back in March I had the same thing. I was working with Jim doing some early landscaping, and his son had gotten a stomach virus. He had gotten it, and it got, you know, I wound up getting it. And within like a day or so, it just immediately went into head chest cold. Because I had in my past, somebody had mixed, I used to do cleaning industrial floor work back around 99, 2000. And somebody had mixed a bunch of chemicals. One was ammonia based, one was chlorine based. And it basically, I used them, didn't know that, and it wound up searing my lungs. And because of that, my lungs are more weak. And I think just in particular because of my body going through so much over the last 3 years, my immunity is just crap. You know, it just is not, it's non-existent. So the first thing that happens to me is anything I get, or if I have a stress like fibromyalgia really starts acting up, it just turns into a chest cold. And that's what this became. And it was really severe, like the coughing. Like I threw up pretty bad on Sunday, and that's when I really started to feel bad. And I started to feel better by evening and had an appetite to at least eat something and keep down. And then I guess Monday I started to feel a little bit better. It's just real up and down. And then I wound out with the cough got really bad on Tuesday, and that's when I determined I'm calling the doctor first thing on Wednesday. Gonna go see him because, God forbid, I have COVID again, or if I wind out just having what I think is it's a really bad chest cold, almost bronchial by nature. Not quite as bad as bronchitis because I got that quite a bit after getting my lungs burned, but that was sort of the progression. And in the whole process of, I had one period of time on Tuesday, about 8 straight hours, I just couldn't stop coughing. And I wound up pulling something in my right rib cage, and now I feel like I got hit by a train. So everything hurts. Now my right foot's not operating. So it's sort of been a plethora of enjoyable circumstances or unfortunate events like Lemony Snicket. But I'm starting to feel a lot better, and obviously I'm not, every now and then I sort of catch myself and I got a cough, but way better in that regard. But I'm just not moving that well yet, and I just still feel like I could just lay down all day, which I'll probably be doing at some point here, because I want to try to be better by the weekend, because my one friend needs some help at his place, and simple work, but it's just helping him get ready for some potential stuff that's going to be happening around his house. And it's something I can handle quite easily, and I don't have to move this stuff that far. It's like, and it's all light, so, and he's been really good to me. So, but anyways, yeah, it's just been, so basically in direct reflection of the channel, I do not see myself being able to go out and doing live filming, especially if it involves getting out of the van and walking. Maybe I could do a country homes starting sometime next week when I get a little more lucid. I'm not like I'm weirdy or something like that, but it just, I don't feel quite up to longer drives, because just going over to the doctor in Myerstown and going back down to Palmyra to get my medicines, that was a bit much. So I'm just constant state of exhaustion. So thankfully though, and the thanks really go out to Colleen, and there's a number of you who have made significant contributions in this way. Country Roads Take Me Home, which I am really sorry, like I gotta look back and see who that was that gave that idea. She sent gifts a couple times saying, this is to help you, this is my idea to do the country. That's probably, I would say, the most popular series we do. And thanks to Colleen, she was the one that said about, you should get your viewers involved and have them send in ideas for videos. And let me clarify with, she was originally off of, because it's shorter videos, like the Pennsylvania historic videos, but she also did the Pool, I think I'm saying it right, Pool Historic Ford. She did that whole really awesome thing. And then the Heroines of Hometown History, Pearl S. Buck. That the amount of, the volume of photography that she did for that particular one was fantastic. And she sent me another one that we're going to do on George C. Marshall. He was one of the highest, if not the highest general, but out in Washington. Like a lot of people say, oh, Dwight D. Eisenhower was the highest general. It was actually George C. Marshall was above him. And he also, like, some of the stuff that man was responsible for, brilliant. Him and Herbert Hoover really worked, President Herbert Hoover, who really gets degraded a lot, and he did not handle the Great Depression well, but the things that they did together, they saved millions of lives in Europe, because, you know, they just went through a war. Everything was devastated and destroyed, and the two of them together came up with the Marshall Plan and saved millions of lives. Just getting, like, pulling it out of nowhere and putting together the logistics, all that was nuts, and it was to save people's lives. Brilliant. He was a brilliant man, and I think he's in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, and Colleen had done a video for her channel, Colleen Unvarnished, and really cool video, and so she sent me all those pictures. So we'll do that, and then I'll actually go into who he was and all that kind of stuff, which I think will be a really good video. I want to say thanks to Angela. She sent me one on General Braddock on the Pennsylvania Historic Marker. That one I wanted to maybe do today, but I want to do a good introspective video on this guy. There were some good things about him, but he was also pretty pompous and ultimately led to him getting killed. But the marker in particular that Angela got the photos for, Cliff actually did a video for his channel, Wandering Woodsman, in his French and Indian War series, which was really awesome series. It had to do with his burial, the road they call, I think, Braddock's Road there for a while, but it is really cool stuff. But while I'm getting past my point, it doesn't just have to be Pennsylvania historic markers. It can be anything of historical significance, and just let me know what it is. I'll do the research, I'll make the video, and I'll give you the credit. If you have a YouTube channel or you have an Instagram that you want me to mention, I'll put a link, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing more that I love than being able to support my fellow YouTubers, and especially I really like to support, there's 3 of you now, Colleen Unvarnished, Cheryl with Sun Plus One, and Angela with A Trail to the Past. It really makes you feel good when people choose to go out and do this type of thing, and then to see them doing well with it really makes you proud. And I will do everything that I can to advertise and, you know, put that out there, because I'd like to see them grow as well, because they're putting out great content. But so like I said, Colleen did the pool historic forge, and now she sent me the stuff for George C. Marshall. So it can be other things as well. Tim, he's been from the get-go in the channel. He sent me we just did Parking's Landing petroglyphs. He has another one, Helen Forge, which we'll wind out doing. So thankfully we have plenty of material thanks to you guys. Cheryl, just to say what a great person Cheryl is, she went out of her way, went out there and did a ton of photography at a number of these different sites and places, historic markers and whatnot, to put 4 things for videos together. And I can't say how much I appreciate that, because also I can give you full credit for the pictures, and I don't have to worry about somebody else that I don't know getting really mad about me using their pictures on the internet, which is public domain, so it's real funky how that works. But it's always one of those things when you're using photography, you want to give the proper citations and those types of things, which is, you know, thanks to Michael Schroeder from Friends of Old Annville. He gave me the advice that to do some kind of credit sequence at the end of the video, so it's actually on the video itself, but also in my description you can click on, and all that stuff's there as well. And then you can actually click on the link of the actual picture, which takes you to the actual page itself, which that was advice he gave me as well, because I was doing it more generically. So Concerned Grandma, she had sent me the one on the Miller Cemetery, but we have the 4 from Cheryl. We have a couple more, a bunch from Colleen yet that we have. We have the one from Angela, which I really want to go in depth in it, because it's a really cool subject material, and there's a lot there. So I like with videos like that, like Pearl S. Buck, when there's a lot more information on something, I like to get a little more in depth with the video, because there's just a great amount of history there to be able to pass on. And but yeah, so where we're at right now, it's going to be a lot of viewer submitted videos, probably for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. just simply because I'm just not up to doing stuff right now. It's, I'm really happy I'm able to speak like I am, because I was like, I'm gonna have to pause and start over again. It's like, then it'd be all jotty, but I'm really happy with I'm being able to breathe a lot better. It's like I'm not having any trouble, because Tuesday was sort of scary because I could not breathe, and I was really, really struggling. So thankfully, they got me some cough suppressors that I'm on. They do want to look at possibly doing a chest scan. They're also trying to think what endoscopy they're talking about potentially doing, just to see why, like, I'm having these issues with throwing up, that maybe there's a polyp or something in there that's sort of blocking and things are getting stuck. Could even be with COVID. One of the weird side effects, especially for guys, for some reason in my age bracket, is your stomach doesn't work like it's supposed to for about 6 to 8 months. So you're not digesting things quickly enough, so you start to back up the esophagus. But I was having issues before I had COVID with the same issues with the coughing from the lisinopril. So I don't know, which I have one friend who's a nurse. She's actually going to look up the hypertension medicine I'm using now to see if that's potentially a side effect, because sometimes some of these different drugs are very similar, so they're very likely to have similar side effects. I really need to be on that hypertension medicine, mainly because of my body being under so much wear. My heart gets stressed a little more, so I'd rather have the cough until the feet get fixed. Once the feet are closed up and I'm not having to worry about that infection anymore, and then we can start looking at fixing the left foot and getting the proper shoes and that type of stuff, and then with the financial aspect, with the unemployment, getting this disability going and that type of stuff, we'll be in a good place. So, it may be 6 to 8 months and I can start over completely and be in a place where I can focus on this channel, on my writing, and then move forward from there and see where life takes me. So it's depressing at times, because I always, like with these feet, it just, I went through a year and a half of it leading up to the surgery, and it's depressing, because it opens up again, and then again it heals, and you're just going through this constant process, and you're like, this is never going to end. And then the surgery happens, they sew me all up, and it creates its own set of difficulties. But for once in life, in the last year and a half, I didn't have the gross feet. Well, I still have gross feet, but just not as gross, and no open wounds, that type of stuff. And then I started having it happen again when I had to start working. I think it was May or June, and then it's been the same thing since. And you get worn down in spirit a little bit, because you're just sort of fighting the same demons over and over again, physical demons. And so it is one of those things that sort of, it takes a toll on you. But I've said this before a number of times, hearing from you guys, and it's so many of you that I just have really been hearing from as of late. I have my regulars that contact me every single day, keeping a check on me every other, and then you have some that'll contact me maybe every week or something like that. But just to have, and just, I don't know, it means a lot, because you feel like, okay, there's people in my corner, there's people that are praying for me and care and stuff like that, and there are in my life otherwise. But it's a positive build up in your life, when in a lot of ways you have the negativity of your physical side, sort of, you're like, I'm gonna keep on degrading, that type of stuff. But I do feel there's around the corner, there's physically and financially, and just the stability aspect as well, be able to have my own place again. The people that have taken me in, best people in the world. Like, they are the ultimate example of what empathy and kindness and decency is. I wouldn't know what I would have done otherwise. But because I tried the whole living in Chuck, and I love Chuck, but I'm a big guy, and unfortunately it doesn't work so well. You know, so, but having your own place where you have sort of your normalcy and your privacy and that type of stuff, I'm looking forward to that at some stage coming up. But I'll forever be grateful to everybody, and I'll be forever grateful to all of you, because you know, this has been that one thing. I've said it over and over again, and I have no problem reiterating. You guys have really helped me up. I'm trying to think, what is it? Josh Groban song. It's probably not his song, and he just re-sang it, but you know, it talks about, you know, people putting you up on their shoulders and it's like that, and taking you through when you can't go yourself, and that's what you guys have been. And I always hope I can reiterate that for you guys, and be there for anybody as well when they're in need. But yeah, so the channel's, it's in a good place. This is the video I'm putting out for today, and then I'll have to look through my list. I'll probably start putting together 2 or 3 today yet if I'm feeling it, and then have them set and ready to go over the next couple days. And then that gives me a couple days to try to get the Braddock video done right, that Angela sent me, and then go from there. And then, like I said, we got a bunch of really good ones from Colleen, and then I do want to do something that I can do, is another JP Walborn Life of a Rider, because I have that stuff now broken open, because the van was a little bit of a mess there, and that was one of the reasons I was out here, plus the call to unemployment, was to try to get things a little more organized. I could find a couple things that I feel that would make life a little more simple, because switch shoes, I had been using slip-ons, but the right foot's a little swollen right now, and it's just sore. And I think having these Adidas shoes, they're a little wider, but I found my Philadelphia Eagles, whatever they're called, slippers. So sort of gross, but that's a little easier, especially when I got to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or something like that. So it's good stuff. Really looking forward to where we're going. There's a few other things too that I had in mind. I can obviously do some more of the hometown history folk tales. I do have another Tales of Hometown History. It's a dog named Judy in World War II out in the Pacific. I think it had to do with the Bataan marches, and it's a really cool story of like the loss of this dog and then the rediscovery, and it's just how she brought the morale up to these soldiers, and probably the reason a number of them survived, because you know, you can have that will to live, but if you don't have hope, it's going to be very, very hard to get through that type of circumstance because of how brutal it was. But another cool story there. I think there's a couple others that I had that I would like to do, but they're just with the filming live type thing. It'll be about 2 weeks. I'm hoping, hopefully, as long as they don't like look at my feet and are like, you need to go to the hospital right now, then it might be something completely different at that stage, and then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I will keep you guys as updated as I can if I do wind up having to go in the hospital because of these feet, because I'm hoping not, but I'm preparing myself for anything in that regard, just because of how it's been. And at the end of the day, if it is something where like we need to take you in and maybe this toe or that toe needs to go bye-byes, I'm not happy about it, but if that's what needs to happen to get me well, and then I have to go on a PICC line again or something like that, just to get this completely out of my system so my feet can heal and then I can move on. I already can't count to 20 with my piggies and my fingers, so we'll go from 18 down to 17 or 16, whatever it might be, and I'll have to just figure something else out to get my counting to 20 again. But anyways, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see you in the next set of videos. And as always, I want to say thank you for you all coming along. I also want to thank all of you for the viewer submitted videos, those all that I mentioned. Thank you. And like I said, feel free. Normally people will send them a couple different ways. I've had people send me stuff on Instagram message. I've also had I believe some people have sent me via Facebook Messenger, but also the thehometownhistorian at gmail.com. That's usually the easiest way, because it's easier to download in those regards, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so thank you as always, and as always, we will see you all about town.